This is Leigh Steinberg on Sports. Leigh Steinberg, the pioneer of sports and entertainment, the world's preeminent sports agent. It's Sports USA's Leigh Steinberg on Sports.
Hi, Leigh.
Hi, Brandon. How are you?
I'm doing good. Are you have any big plans for the 4th of July weekend?
Well, we live in Newport Beach, and it is the meeting place for every person under the age of about 25 who wants to go to the beach. So the streets are not navigable. You take your life into your hands. So my office, as you know, is right on the water. I think I'll stay at home.
Now the World Cup, USA and Belgium. USA, of course, losing in extra time, 2-1. Tim Howard, incredible, 16 saves in that game. Did that put Tim Howard on another level of stardom?
It certainly puts him. I believe he plays for Everton in the British League. It puts him on another plateau of exposure in this country. First of all, he blocks like 16 saves in the last game. Nice looking, speaks well, and we saw a mini flurry of activity this week when someone transposed him with Chuck Hagel, who's the Secretary of Defense. And Hagel ends up calling him. It set off a Twitter frenzy, and there was a fan petition to rename the Reagan National Airport the Tim Howard Airport. He's a prototypical American hero. We'll see how long his shelf life goes. It would actually be better for him if he was playing in the MLS, because then he'd be in front of American audiences.
Would it have made any difference if Landon Donovan was on the team?
I think you look at this two ways. Undoubtedly, his experience and leadership are critical. But he didn't have a good relationship with Jurgen Klinsmann for whatever reason, and he omitted him. I'd have been happier to see him on the team.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, his absence meant other players had to step up and aided their maturation process.
Now, Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel, the owner has asked him to focus on football. Now they are trying to give an extension to Brian Hoyer. He's got 1 year left on his contract. And what does Johnny Football do? Hangs out with Justin Bieber. Now, if you were Johnny Football's agent, how would you counsel him in this situation?
I would counsel him that his career step here is to seamlessly transfer from college football into the NFL. It's the NFL that is giving him this great first contract. So it's an anomaly because he's got to fit into a team of veterans, and they'll be looking to see how serious he is about football. He's got an owner and a coach who'll be looking to see the same thing. The strategic thing to do would be keep low key, get himself into training camp, be humble, deflect all the praise, and not do a whole lot of endorsements, because if he hits misadventure, if he throws picks, if he lines up over guard instead of center, if he does some of the things that we see rookie quarterbacks do, and everything around him is festooned with advertisements for him, it makes him look a little silly. Now, in his defense, he's a victim of viral media, of social media gone celebrity crazy, because there's nothing he's doing that is in any way harmful to his career. So he goes to Las Vegas, he goes to a party. The problem is that he's so high profile that the ubiquitous cell phone camera will catch him wherever he is. The video will catch him wherever he is. And the impression that makes is different than the reality. The impression it makes is, here's someone not serious about football, he's out partying, he's having a great old time, the Browns are the last thing on his mind, and all the rest of it. Now, nobody in the off season spends 24/7 worrying about football. So his more prudent step is, you want to go to Las Vegas? Fine. You want to meet Justin Bieber? Fine. Do it discreetly.
And what about Jimmy Graham? Ruled a tight end and not a wide receiver, so that's definitely millions of dollars less that he will be getting in the franchise tag that the Saints wanted to place on him. How should he feel about this now? I mean, should he feel a little scorned, by the New Orleans Saints?
So this is sort of a test. Let's explain the rule first. The team in the NFL can designate one player as their franchise player. And that player they can prevent from going out, even though his contract's expired, and being a free agent. The franchise player has to be tendered a one-year offer. And how they calculate it is they look around the league at the top 10 salaried players at his position, and he gets the average of that. So here's the issue. The wide receiver number is $12.3 million. The tight end number is $7 million. So they then got into a dispute about what he should be designated to be. And his representatives used the fact that he was lined up not as a tight end but out in the slot for 61% of the plays. To which the arbitrator said, a tight end who starts and plays the tight end position may well be lined up different ways, but he's still a tight end.
Yeah.
And does this symbolize a strong, warm and fuzzy relationship between a player and a team? No. So here's the thing. It's very hard for anybody working in the world to think that $7 million is something to feel sorry about somebody for. But if there was great relations and lines of communication in this situation, he would not have been franchised in the first place. They'd have agreed on the contract.
And we want to thank you for listening to and downloading Leigh Steinberg on Sports. You can find us on sportsusamedia.com, Podcast One, that's podcastone.com, on iTunes and the TuneIn app for your smartphone. And you can follow him on Facebook and Twitter at Leigh Steinberg. Visit steinbergsports.com and buy his book, The Agent, on Amazon.com and wherever books are sold. I think I covered it all. Do you have anything else to say to the fans?
I just want to thank everyone so much for listening in. I hope we added a little bit to your enjoyment of some of these issues. Now you can sit on a bar stool next to someone pontificating on these subjects and say, well, I heard this podcast and I know the truth.
There you go. And most of the time, we are always right. That makes sense.
As much sense as anything else in the world of sports makes.
Exactly. And until next time, this has been Leigh Steinberg on Sports.
This is Leigh Steinberg on Sports.